This story comes from Gamasutra, and apparently this week, Daybreak Game Company announced that it would be shutting down game servers for the first Planetside and the EverQuest trading card game, Legends of Norrath. Um, and I want to say that these games have been, you know, going on since the early 2000s, so about 15 years or so. Um, and while I haven't played these games, they do seem to be pretty much online only. So 15 years. If you paid for these games and they were full retail price, they're now useless unless you get a private server, which is illegal. And I kind of wanted to start my take on this segment by kind of giving my own experience with the only online game that I had any interest in playing online. On PlayStation 3, Level 5, the people that, or the developer that made, uh, the same people that made, I want to say, uh, Nino Kuni? Yes, Nino Kuni, Dark Cloud, which I've talked about before, and they also made something on the PS3 called White Knight Chronicles. It was kind of a Final Fantasy 12 styled RPG, and a lot of questing on the side that you could do. It had a very online feel to it, and you could do pretty much all the side quests online with other people. So I thought, hey, this is great. It's not competitive. I can just go online and do cool stuff with other players. And they closed that server down real quick. I think the game itself launched in 2008, and it was only running for about 3 years. Yeah, so that whole online part of the game, gone. Poof. Just, you're done. And if you look in the terms of service, they can do that legally at any time. Someone in chat actually asked, why is a private server illegal? We talked about it. I believe the World of Warcraft,
Yeah.
the vanilla version of it, if you are running a outdated version of a game, it's kind of like, it's basically like pirating a game. It falls underneath that same category of video game law, I want to say, or just law in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't legally run a private server and have people connect to it.
Which is dumb, especially when your gaming community is practically like demanding and willing to pay for it.
Right. And to me, you should, as someone who, I have older games. My oldest game, I want to say, is Super Mario Land for the Game Boy. Like, that I will still go back and play sometimes. So, to me, this is the whole reason why I stay away from online games. They can be gone at any point in time. And a lot of that is determined by, how many people are actually playing it. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just a what was the decision that they made here on Planetside and Legends of Norrath? So for Planetside, they stated that the game would need to close due to evolving business needs and technical requirements. Basically, they didn't want to support the servers anymore. To them, it was a waste of money because no one's going out and buying Planetside anymore. And as far as Legends of Norrath goes, they stated that it has not had an active development team for quite some time. And that's its reason for going that route. But when it comes to, popular titles now, like Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront. That game is pretty much 99% online. So just imagine if you play Battlefront one day, 5 years from now, and we have 5 Battlefronts to pick from, and you want to go back and you want to play the original one, and EA, in their infinitesimal wisdom, has decided to close down the servers. Sorry, you're out of luck. That's the way it works. So, people may kind of look at me a bit crazy when I say, like, no, I need to have a single player campaign. I need to have some reason, or, even multiplayer split screen on a couch in the same room with someone. I know it's a foreign concept, but games that have those elements are worth a lot more to me than just strictly online stuff. Because it can be gone at any moment.
Yeah.
As good as Overwatch is, I wouldn't get Overwatch for that reason. But yeah, did you have anything else to add? Or did I cover it?
What did you say Legends of Norrath was? Like a card-based game?
Yeah, it's the trading card game that is based on EverQuest characters. But, an online card game. And I mean, a card game is not so much a big deal. But if you're playing Legends of Norrath, you're done.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I used to play a game on the PlayStation 2 called Champions of Norrath, so I was just wondering if there was a connection between those two, and there might be.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of like I want to say a gauntlet style, like dungeon crawler, where
Yeah.
overhead view, you go in a dungeon, all that stuff. Yep, same universe that takes place in.
Um, yeah, I guess it's really sad, especially when there still is like fan bases for these games. There might not be like a as large as a fan base they had before, but there's still people who still like them. And I'm pretty sure that eventually, somewhere in the not so near future, someone will probably try and create their own server, even though, they
They can't legally do it.
yeah, but saying that you can't legally do something, people have been ignoring stuff like that for a long time. Um, just because they ask for it, and game devs are just like, no, we just don't want to do it, and they just like, well, there's a fan base for it, and people are demanding it. So if you're not going to do it, then the fans are just going to do it, which is pretty much what happened with World of Warcraft. Except there was a huge fan base for that. And they could have easily, like, Blizzard really, like, they didn't have to have anyone from their actual company to, like, watch over it, or, like, they didn't have to send people over to, like, monitor these servers. They could have just hired those people.
Yeah.
Or simply just said, all right, we bestow upon you, you're legally allowed to have this because there's a fan base for it. If they're purchasing things, then, that money does belong to Blizzard because it's their game. But, like, run it. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that those people like wouldn't have even like if you're a really huge fan of something, I don't imagine that like to keep it going you would ask for a lot. Like they probably wouldn't even ask for money. Just like you're in charge of this. If you end up making money off of it, we get it because it's ours, but you can run it. I'm sure they would have gone, sure, cool.
Yeah. Now, the good news with that is that actually still may be a possibility. They may actually, Blizzard may work with those people to get a server like that active. But, there were something like thousands of players connecting to those private servers for it. I don't think you should have to have thousands of players to do a private server. I kind of figure, like, look, hey, if you're a game company that no longer wishes to support the online features of an older game, because let's say you want to use those servers for other newer games. I perfectly get it. I think at that point, though, you should legally release and allow people to, hey, you can go ahead and run your own server. We will, charge you. You need to give us, especially if you're charging for it, you need to
Yeah.
give us royalties and work it out that way. Um, and of course, there needs to be conditions like you cannot alter the game code at all. There are ways to do this to keep online games running for anyone that wants to play them.
Yeah.
There's ways to do it, and we haven't really come up with a fitting solution yet, unfortunately.
Yeah. And occasionally, it's a little younger than most of like the original Warcraft and Planetside and Legends of Norrath, but sometimes me and a few of my friends will play Halo 3 online with just random people just because it's still a fun game, especially compared to most of the online capabilities of the newer ones. I'm not going to say a lot on that, but I still consider Halo 3 a relevant game, and their online servers, I think now it's like 4,000 people, uh, like 24/7 are usually on. It's about 4,000 something. Um, and it's not huge, like not nearly as big as it used to. Like there used to be like millions of people playing that,
Mm-hmm.
and now that it's down to like the thousands, like the lower thousands. But you know, there's still a fan base for that, and it would be really sad to have that stuff gone. You know, and that's one of the very few games nowadays that have like split screen capabilities to them. So we could still like just have four of us play on like a map or something. But
Right.
to
Yeah.
have another, like to have your four, like you and three other of your buddies act as a team and then fight another team that could be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
There's just something like fun and exciting about doing stuff like that. And it makes online gaming like that more fun when you can do it with other people. Um, Otherwise, it gets kind of lonely and you stop playing it eventually. But you know, I don't have a very huge connection to this, mainly because I haven't played this before or any of the Planetside games. Um, and I was kind of like while you were talking about, it, I was kind of having a hard time feeling like I don't know sorrow for these people who just lost something that they really enjoy doing, and so like I was just trying to like connect myself to that situation. Like
Yeah.
if it was Halo 3, I'd be sad because that's something that me and my friends enjoy playing, and especially Overwatch. Like if that happened, that would definitely be sad, especially with how much I've been putting into that game recently. Um, but yeah, I can definitely see like it's a sad thing when it happens, and you know, not saying that it could happen to any other games or like Halo or anything right now, but there's a possibility of it happening at any moment. So
Yeah. And some other shooters, you know, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2, that they're talking about in chat is, they're in the same position as Halo 3. They've only got a few thousand. Just, what happens to those couple thousand people playing when they shut off the servers?
yeah, I mean now though Modern Warfare 4 or Modern Warfare might get shut down a lot sooner than expected because they do have the remastered version coming out soon.
That's true.
So they could entirely just flip the switch and kill it immediately when that comes out. Uh, Not saying that it will, but it is pretty much the exact same game, and I'm sure the multiplayer is it's gonna be a lot better than what it. Well, it's probably gonna be easier than the other one, and there's definitely gonna be a lot more people on that one. So they might just see, like numbers and just be like, oh, that one's bigger than that one. Flip.
Yeah.